Justin, thanks for joining us this morning.
Always good to be with you, Brian.
Harvest is over. It's a little late. I mean, we're at the first part of August, and it's just kind of finally winding down.
Well, it certainly has been one of those years. Yeah, but when you think back about the challenges that this crop has had the whole time, that is from the very beginning, last fall, we had some moisture to get started, but things really started to dry up going into winter dormancy. And then after we broke dormancy this spring, the drought conditions that we suffered, not only in Kansas, but in southeast Colorado, the Oklahoma Panhandle, Texas Panhandle, that was really the story of the Southern Plains for the hard red winter wheat crop this year. And then to have some freeze damage that happened in May, just almost everything that could be thrown at this crop but the kitchen sink seemed to happen. And then June happened with all of the rains that came. I mean, you never want to complain about getting some rain, but it was just really difficult for that wheat crop to get, once it was kind of ripe and ready to be harvested, to get all those rains, and it really delayed and prolonged things. So it was definitely a challenging year for hard red winter wheat farmers in the Southern Plains this year, and we're hoping for better prospects for next year.
Well, if you look at what the price has done in the last a little while, you'd think that we've had a major harvest, that we've had a bumper harvest, but we really haven't.
Right. That's you know, we've had that question brought up several times. When you look at this year's production, it's probably going to be the worst production, lowest production the state of Kansas has had since 1989. So when we're looking at that low production, and in Texas and Oklahoma, both are going to be down in production. The thought process is, well, if it's a short crop, you know, it's going to be in pretty high demand. But just like, you know, no man is an island, no grain is an island, we're being affected by corn and beans prices. And so everything that was difficult for that wheat harvest right during June has been really good growing conditions for corn and soybeans. And so as we're seeing the good prospects for the corn and soybean crops, and the market's really taking that in effect, we've seen pretty sharp decline in prices here the last 60 days. And also we're starting to see some prospects for good spring wheat crops in the northern states. And so that's something that farmers need to be aware of and be thinking about when they're making their marketing decisions for this year, is that we were kind of ground zero, unfortunately, for the drought conditions and the short production this year. And the market's really being dictated by some other things. What it is doing is creating some opportunities for our export buyers. And so what we really got to do is focus hard on that export business, get that demand side going, and hopefully that'll help kind of pick things up for us. And maybe we've reached a short-term bottom here in the near term and get some export demand going.
Well, in the short time that we have in our first segment here, it's important that we get these buyers into the state, show them what we've got, and make sure they understand that we still have got great wheat.
That's for sure, Brian. Even though we have a short crop this year, we have a good protein, good milling, good end performance crop, and we are going to be able to meet their needs when they come to the U.S. to buy their wheat.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to visit with Justin about maybe planning for next fall, what we should be doing for the winter crop next year. You're watching Kansas Ag Report, and we'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
We're back with Justin over at the Wheat Innovation Center, and Justin, it's never too early to really start thinking about planting this fall. I mean, we're about 40 days out, I guess, somewhere around in there, from getting some seeds into the ground.
Right, and you know, when we start thinking about fall seeding for wheat, there's a lot of things that we have going for us in the Southern Plains this year that we haven't had maybe the last 5 years. We've started these rains we've gotten this summer out in western Kansas, and the panhandles have begun to replenish some of that topsoil moisture that we haven't had in a while. And so we have good fall crops that are coming. It's exciting to start thinking about the opportunities that we might have for as far as getting that wheat seed in the ground and getting a crop stand established. And even though we had a difficult year this past year, hopefully there's going to be some good prospects and opportunities for the crop coming. There's definitely some things that farmers are going to need to be thinking about. you know, when we do have a short crop like we had, we also had some weed pressure right at the end of harvest that kind of caused things to drag on a little bit, where farmers or co-ops had to come in and kind of spray some fields and wait for that residual to kill off the weeds before we could get in and harvest that seed. So there's a lot of things that farmers need to take into consideration as far as seed germination and seed vitality to make sure that they have the best seed that they can get. There's a lot of, you know, Kansas and the Central Plains here have some of the strongest certified seed producer networks around, that if a guy needs to go out and source some certified seed, that might be, there's going to be a lot of good options for him with good varieties. Several of the good varieties we saw performance this year, again, Everest from Kansas State University was a top performing. Westbred had another good variety called Cedar that had good performance. Oklahoma's had some solid varieties coming out, so we feel good about our variety package that's out there. That's given us good diversity to kind of combat the different challenges that the crops could face. But we'd like to see those guys go out and encourage them to talk to certified seed producers to find the best option for them.
We've got about a minute left. Fall, I mean, your staff and you, I mean, you guys have a kind of a tough job coming into fall.
Well, you know, when you think about what our priorities are going to be going into this fall, it's really going to be going after and drumming up that export business. We've got a good story to tell about wheat that's grown in hard red winter wheat country and the southern plains of the United States. Even though we had a difficult year, we have a crop that's going to be it's going to have good performance, good strength. And so we need to get out and get that customers in here, let them know that even though they hear about the short crop, that we are going to have wheat for them to buy, and we are a reliable choice in the world marketplace for their wheat. And the other things that we'll be working on here is, you know, that's the research initiatives happening at the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center. You have a year like we've had this last year, it really emphasizes the importance for improved genetics so that we can survive drought and heat tolerance and all of those things that are challenges that farmers are facing. And we look at the next generation of varieties and genetics coming. We're excited about it and excited about the role that Kansas Wheat Innovation Center is going to play.